Hey guys, today's VOD review is going to be with a gold 1 top laner on the NA server playing Shen into Camille. And so you can see here, currently on a 61% win rate, 18 games. I actually did this VOD review about a week or so ago and he was sitting at a 55% win rate. So firstly, he's already absorbed the information from the VOD review and seen a 6% win rate increase on his main champion, which is a really good sign. It shows that he's learnt and it shows that the VOD review is actually productive. And what it also means is if you're a gold top laner or a silver top laner or even like a low plat top laner or even a bronze top laner and you're looking on how to improve in the top lane, this is going to be a really good game review for you to watch, learn, and absorb information from. So I'm going to do a quick rundown of what we actually go through in this VOD review so you can kind of get an understanding of, oh, is this VOD review going to be right for me? Am I going to learn anything? So the first one is wave management. Understanding wave management as something that's in the current and it's also in the future. So every action you take on a wave, so every last hit you do, every auto attack you take, every auto attack you make, every ability you use on the wave is going to have a consequence now and in the future, and you need to be able to understand and predict that into 30 seconds, 45 seconds, and up to like a minute 30 to 2 minutes once you get really good at it. So the concept in this VOD review is basically every CS is a negotiation between you and your enemy opponent. So I'm going to go for this CS. What are you going to do in return? Are you just going to let me do it for free? Are you going to take a CS off my ally minion wave in return? Are you going to try and poke me? Are you going to try and use a spell on me, etc., etc.? And then vice versa. So when they go for a CS, what do you do? How do you negotiate with them to take a CS off you? Second one is trading. When to trade, why should you trade, and looking at the consequences. So if you trade at this certain time, what will be the consequences? And then we see it play out. If you trade at this time, what will be the consequences? So understanding trading, don't just trade for the sake of it, trade for an outcome. So I want to trade with this enemy because X. I want to trade because I want to do this. I want to trade because I want to get that. Etc, etc. Third concept, who is the alpha in the lane? In top lane, you can often see this problem where sometimes the lesser dominant champion in the actual lane is actually shitting on the other player because they are playing with an alpha status. They are playing more aggressively. They're posturing more aggressively. And what it does is it makes the other player, particularly if they're timid or they're not confident in their champion, they don't believe in themselves and they actually take a step back and allow the less dominant champion to actually dominate them because of the player piloting the champion is a more aggressive person. So we talk a little bit about how to become the alpha in the lane, how to deal with when you're not the alpha in the lane, and just overall that whole dynamic of the alpha and then the secondary in the lane. Next one is what to do when the enemy early TPs. So basically in top lane, generally top laners will use their TP to get back to lane for their like first or second recall. In this example, we actually break it down and look at, okay, what does it mean when the enemy does do an early TP and how can you punish them for it? So if you haven't recalled yet, how can you punish them if they TP early? So we go through that with an actual example in the game. The next one is jungle tracking tips and tricks for top laners. So I go through some really basic jungle tracking advice that is really easy to implement and it's really important, especially for top laners who are bad at tracking the enemy jungler and who always die from enemy jungler ganks, particularly around that level 3 mark. So I put in some tips on what to do, how to prevent it, some really easy ones, including warding, but also in terms of positioning and wave management. And then the last one is how to improve your map awareness. So because he's playing Shen, your ultimate is a really key component of Shen's champion identity. So we go through the VOD review and talk about how to use the TP for most effectiveness. Anyway, guys, let's get into the VOD review because that's enough explaining of what it's actually about. So I've got the game set up. You can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Cool. So before we get into it, what do you want to get out of this VOD review? What's your reason for getting this?
Just insight into what's wrong with my game.
Okay.
Like, something ain't clicking, and I've grown weary over the months, and I just want to find out, what I'm doing wrong.
Okay, so you're not really sure? Like, do you have any ideas of
I
what you think you're doing wrong?
I'm not managing my waves properly. I think I'm making a lot of mechanical misplays,
Yup.
and just those two things really, especially wave management. Yeah, I, I haven't figured out the secrets, you know?
Okay, cool. Yeah, we can focus on that because also look at your CS. I mean, 5.8 isn't too bad, but as a top laner in a 30-minute game, yeah, we probably are looking at a little bit higher than that on average.
Oh, and I
Which,
guess also matchups,
yep, okay,
like how to play certain matchups, yeah.
cool. All right. And the next question was, why have you not been playing ranked recently? Is there been a reason for that?
Simply put, and to be honest, uh, I don't like playing by myself.
Okay, fair enough.
Today was it was a, today it was a duo was available.
Okay. So you like to duo queue, you prefer to duo queue.
Yes.
Cool. Why do you prefer to do that? Just so you have better teammate, better structure? Do you like the comms aspect?
Yeah.
Okay.
Those reasons exactly. Pretty
Okay, cool.
much. It's just yeah, it's more fun.
Okay, and who is your duo for this?
Mr. Boke, the Ari in the mid lane.
Okay, cool. All right. So do you guys kind of work together? Like, when you guys duo queue, do you like make sure it's strategic, or do you just kind of go in and then just have a good time?
Yeah, we go in and try to have a good time, honestly.
Cool.
I mean, we
Okay.
ain't sweating too hard. I mean, we're sweating a little bit, of course, because we're trying to win and climb. But
Yeah.
you know, I don't think it's anything too forceful, too hard.
Okay, cool. All right, let's get into the game. You can still see my screen, right?
Yes.
Cool. So, what do you think of this matchup before I say anything? Shen versus Camille.
I think Camille bullies Shen a little bit, but I don't think Camille should ever be solo killing Shen if Shen uses his E defensively.
Yeah, I agree. I think the matchup's pretty good. I mean, Camille wants to split push, and you're okay with that as long as you go TP because you just out pressure her globally. So I think the matchup's fine as long as you don't let her get a lead in lane. It's pretty manageable. Cool. So Doran Shield. What? What runes did you go here? Not sure if I'll be able to see them.
For domination, I'd like to take Ultimate Hunter and Cheap Shot.
Yep. Cool. Shield Bash, second win, nice. Revitalize. Perfect.
Oh, I guess those are the two runes I have questions on, like when to take Bone Plating and when to take Second Wind, and when to take Revitalize and when to take Overgrowth.
Yep. So
I just really like the healing for Revitalize, even though it's minimal.
yeah, it kind of feels good. So my opinion, bone plating's usually good for champs. Like Renekton. I to be honest, I always prefer second wind, so I would go second wind in this matchup purely because I think second wind's just like way more versatile. Like every single time you get attacked, you'll get the regen. Whereas bone plating, some players, particularly as you get higher up, you're gonna realize that some people actually will just take your bone plating off cooldown, wait for it to go off, and then like go in then. So I think bone plating is really good in terms of damage reduction, but it's only good if your opponent doesn't realize what bone plating does or if they don't realize that you have it. Because better players will just like proc it and then wait for it to turn off and then they'll go in with their all in.
Yep.
So I always like second wind. I think it's definitely better. But I think in short trade matchups like a Renekton, sometimes Camille you could go bone plating, but I would always opt for second wind. In top lane. In terms of these, I would almost always go unflinching. I think tenacity is really strong at the moment, particularly with the recent change to this. You literally gain like just a base 10 tenacity, which is quite good. And then obviously it increases depending on your health. And particularly in this game, let's say you're not building... you're building... Okay, you built Merc Treads. I was going to say, let's say you built Tabby because you're versing a Camille. The unflinching there is really good so that you're not getting fucked up by CC as much. But you
Yeah.
go Merc Treads anyway, which is interesting. So clearly you didn't need Tabby in laning phase, which I'm keen to see how that plays out, because usually I'd go for like plated steel caps against a Camille, but maybe the lane wasn't that oppressive. And then these ones, I think domination, I mean, you'd always want to go Ultimate Hunter, but you could also try experimenting with Sudden Impact and Taste of Blood if you ever wanted. Taste of Blood
I
mainly
used
for
to run
trades.
Taste of Blood,
Yeah.
but I think I felt Cheap Shot was a little better.
Yeah, Cheap Shot's more aggressive. So if you're wanting to play aggressive, Cheap Shot for sure. If you're wanting sustain, Taste of Blood. And then Sudden Impact as well is quite aggressive, like it works with your E as well as your ult and your TP. But yeah, I think this is good. Shield Bash is okay. You can go Demolish as well if you're thinking like you're going to abuse you're going to bully your opponent. But Shen doesn't really... Yeah, I mean, Shield Bash is just so good because of Shen's shielding. And then, yeah, I think this is all good. There's nothing worrying here. Attack speed, adaptive, armor, yeah, it's pretty standard. You can always go like attack speed, armor, health if you're in a really tough matchup, but the 9 adaptive is good as well.
Just a quick question: is all this being recorded?
Yeah, I'm recording it, so I'll send you the recording after as well.
Sick, thank you.
Perfect. Okay. Is there any more questions about this? We'll go through this build a little bit more, but I want to see how the game plays out before I say anything about the build.
No, I'm good to go.
Awesome. How's your jungle tracking, do you feel?
I'm horrible.
Okay.
I mean, usually I track where the jungler is based on dragon and where my jungler is, but I'm still, I pretty much never know where the jungler is.
Okay, cool. So something I like to do is I play top lane a little bit. Something I always like to do is once minions pretty much get into the lane, I come up here and use my first ward on red buff. Like obviously if you're blue side, and then if you're red side, I'll use my first ward and put it here. But it's actually a really good way to do it, particularly if you're bad with jungle tracking and it's super low risk. Because we can assume Zach's going to start like blue buff because he wants the 2-man leash. So you're actually super safe right now. I'll take away vision and I assume you'll be safe as well. But it's something I like to do as a top laner. Okay, never mind, he starts here. So what you could have done here is you could have literally come up, warded this, and then seen all this play out, and there would have been no threat. Anivia could sure come across, but you're going to be like here by the time Anivia reacts. So I think that's a really good one, particularly if you're bad at jungle tracking. Because when you ward here, you either see that Zach's starting red, or you see that he's not starting red, and therefore he's going to blue. But also, when you ward... If you ward here at this time, like obviously you can't because you're leashing for Karthus. If you ward at this time, this ward's going to last up until Zach actually gets to this red buff. So he could do a full clear, even clear his raptors, and your ward's still going to be there when he goes to his red buff. So it's a nice little trick.
And at what time should I put the ward? Like at 40 seconds, roughly?
At what time?
Yeah.
Yep.
The beginning war.
It's usually about 1:30. It doesn't really matter because you've got the longest lane, so you can pretty much get there as late as you want. I usually base it off this minion wave, so usually I do it at around 1:30, and then you just walk back to lane. But yeah, get into the habit of doing that as a top laner because it gives you so much vision and it helps you understand jungle tracking a little bit. As long as your minimap's good. Yeah, so you do it like right now, 1:30.
That is if I'm not leashing.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, Karthus technically doesn't need a leash, but it's nice that he got one. Okay, cool. So, what information do we know right now? Based off just looking at you and Camille.
Camille started grasp and it got to lane faster than I did.
Yeah.
So she gets a little bit of lane prio.
Yep. And what else can we look at? Looking at like health and mana bars.
She used a bit of mana.
Yeah, and what would that suggest? Obviously, we knew what happened, but...
Well, either she hooked a lane, or she was probably, like, leashing Zac.
Yeah, so if she's leashing Zac, what does that mean in terms of jungle tracking for you?
I should probably stay back in case of level 2 cheese.
Yep, and then if that level 2 cheese doesn't eventuate?
I have no idea.
Well, Zac will probably be bot side, so you'll be pretty safe for the next few minutes.
Okay.
Because usually a Zac would start, let's say, blue buff. Even though kind of the meta right now in better junglers is you start Raptors, but right now you'd expect him to start blue buff and then potentially do a full clear, and then he'd come up top side at level 3. But now, if you knew that Camille had no mana, and then you deduce that, okay, Zac started top side, you can deduce, yep, level 2, I'm high risk. Zac could do red buff and come straight here and look for a cheese gank. Or, okay, there's going to be no level 3 pressure from Zac because we know he started red. Therefore, he's going to get level 3 bot side, and therefore he's going to try and gank bot lane. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. In this game, did you even think about Camille's mana here?
I did not, really.
Cool. That's all right. Yeah. And also, if she was smart, she would have realized you're missing health as well, and therefore assumed you leashed as well, which is important.
I actually noticed that I thought about that I was missing health, and that she would know that I was missing health, and that I probably leashed or something.
Yeah. So to prevent that, just make sure you don't take damage when giving a leash. Yeah. And that's pretty easy. Okay, cool. So Camille's gone bone plating. Okay, so here, those first 3 minions. Talk me through your thought process here.
I didn't think I could walk up because Camille was pressuring me a lot. Like, I didn't think going for the minion was worth it if she could just damage me with her grass proc.
Okay. So you're happy with giving 14, 28, 36 gold for 1 grass proc. You're okay with giving up 36 gold for that kind of trade?
Well, I'm not okay with it, but I thought it was what I had to do to avoid taking too much damage.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm honestly just scared that not only will it be a grass proc, but that since the other wave will take a long time into coming in, she'll just chase me and kind of outdamage me.
Yeah. Okay, good. All right, using your shield there.
Yeah, I used my Q.
Yeah, so you used it. So you're using your shield preemptively. Because there was nothing actually coming there, right?
I usually do that quite often to CS.
Okay.
And yeah, it's also like a preemptive measure, yeah.
Yeah.
If my shield is up.
All right, you got E level 2, cool. Okay, we're CSing a little better. Nice. Okay, what were you thinking with this trade?
I thought she would be under tower,
yep.
And I quickly realized she wasn't.
Yeah.
So I tried to get out of there as soon as I realized the trade was probably might not be in my favor.
Yeah. What else is not good about that trade?
I took a lot of minion damage.
Yeah. Yeah, and we knew we were going to take a lot of minion damage as soon as we aggroed her. So, I want to know... Let's even come back even further. So, here you're not okay taking a trade, but at this point with the turret, with the thought of the turret, that's when you're okay with taking a trade.
Essentially, yeah.
Okay, cool. With how you're playing, what do you think Camille's thinking about you right now?
I'm playing really scared.
Yeah.
And she could probably have her way with me.
Yeah. And yeah, exactly. And we don't really want that, right?
Nope.
Cool. And so what runes have we gone? We've gone second Windright and Doran's Shield. So can we afford to take a couple of trades for CS?
We could,
Yep.
theoretically, yeah.
Cool. I think those first 3 CS particularly, like, I think, in my opinion, it's worth it. Because you've got Doran's Shield and you've got Second Wind. Really, you're going to heal most of it back. The only thing you're going to give her is that 5 permanent health that Grasp gives her. But besides that, I think the gold's worth it in almost every section. Now, what would have happened here if you had your taunt? So we didn't use taunt here.
Yeah, it was on
probably
cooldown.
could have
Well, she
taunted
knew
her.
my taunt was on
Yeah.
cooldown, so I didn't use it.
Yeah,
Or,
but
sorry,
the
yeah.
whole situation would be avoided either way. Cool. Okay, CSing under turrets. Not too bad, actually. Nice, you've only got a 1 CS deficit, even with all that, like, unoptimal. Trading. Okay. Cool. Good trade. So, did you hold off your pot to bait her, or was that just not, you weren't really thinking about it?
I didn't think I needed it until that point.
Okay, cool. So you like to usually pot at a bit lower health than this?
Yeah,
Okay.
I do.
Okay. That's risky. I like it, though.
Usually you would pot even if you're like at half health.
Yeah, I'd usually pot at half health, but I thought you were doing it strategically to make her do that. Right, cool. So this is a good trade. Alright, so here, is this an accident attacking this minion?
I think so.
Okay, cool.
Wait, did I attack that minion? Yeah,
Yeah,
I did.
because that fucks it up. Oh, you still get it actually in the end. Okay, never mind. Cool. Okay, so pause the map. What do we know right now?
Zach is mid.
Yeah. Cool. What do we think Camille's doing right now?
Recalling because I left her at 2 HP.
Yeah. Okay, what are we gonna do here? This is interesting. What do you do here and why?
I realized I had a... Well, I was thinking I have a big wave, so I'm gonna take a little risk here and try to beat her.
Yeah.
Here. And she shouldn't be able to beat me because of my wave.
Perfect. And what are the pros of that beyond just beating her and almost, you know, taking a bit of risk and maybe getting a kill?
Well, if I kill her, then she will lose that entire wave because I will push the wave.
Yeah, and what if you don't kill her? No one dies, you don't kill her, but you get a nice trade-off.
I guess we're both in lane with relatively same amount of HP.
Yeah,
And
but
the wave
also
still gets the crash to her tower.
yeah, and also you haven't reset yet. So she's reset and she's TPing back in base. So any damage you get off on her after she resets is a win for you when you come back to lane. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
Because now you've got the reset. So as long as you don't die here, any trade you take here is optimal. You pretty much win the trade, even if you lose more HP than she does. As long as you get this trade, because we know Zach's not coming yet, anything you do here, as long as you don't die, is optimal. Okay, so we missed the E. Nice. Perfect. Okay, so we're at a little bit of risk here. Good. Good. Now we're at a bit of risk because we don't really know where Zach is.
He just died, so he's respawning.
Oh, okay. Perfect. Based on the information we have on Zach, where do you think he's going to go after he's dead?
Well, none of the scuttle crabs have been taken, so I could assume he's either going top or bot.
Yeah, which if you
towards one of the rivers.
Yeah, if you
wherever Karthus isn't or is, I guess.
Yeah, if you had to take a, let's say, a 50-50 guess, where do you think Zach would go, top side or bot side? Even based that we know he started red buff.
Top side with my luck, I think.
Well, it kind of makes sense, right? Because he'll have more camps up. Because assuming he's cleared the camps. Also, do you know what kind of the most valuable camp is at the moment in terms of like, besides blue and red buff, in terms of jungle camps?
Raptors?
Yeah. So basically junglers, I mean, this is gold 1, so they should understand that raptors are pretty valuable. Basically, you can always assume junglers are going to prioritize their raptors if they have a choice. So if they've gone back and we know, obviously, Zach started red side, which basically means his raptors are up, we can assume that he's going to come here. And let's see, he actually goes bot side. Okay, so we're wrong there. But usually, junglers would go raptors there because it's priority. Cool, so this is really good. This is what I was talking about. Because now she's on 400 HP and you get a free back. And you don't even have to TP here if you don't want to, depending on what happens. Yeah. So do you
I don't TP back, I take the walk.
Yeah. And do you even see this as an advantage right now? I bet in your head you're probably... Are you happy with this? Like how you're doing right now?
Yeah, I think at that point I was pretty satisfied.
Good. Good. So you're already beating her in the macro game, which is really important. The CS was a bit problematic, but that's okay. I'm just writing notes as well.
No problem.
Cool. Alright, what could we do with this wave and why?
We can freeze it.
Yeah.
And deny her a bunch of my own waves.
Cool. What do we need to do to freeze this wave?
I have no idea. So, I mean, I have some idea, but I don't know how to pull it off. Like, because I know, well, to freeze this wave in particular, I know I have to thin it out first to have some equal amount of minions on that side and my side.
Yep.
It's my thought process. I'm not sure if that's right or wrong.
If you had to give like a number of how many enemy minions extra you want to get a freeze, what would you kind of say?
One more than what I have. So if I have 3 minions, I would want 4. At least that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, so you're kind of right. The problem with that is that freeze will eventually break. The best freeze to have is a 3 caster minion freeze. Because it basically means they're always going to dominate your lane. And you can hold that freeze for up to like 5 to 10 minutes when you do it correctly. So obviously you're not going to hold a freeze for 5 to 10 minutes. But basically it means it's almost infinite in a solo queue game. As long as you have as long as the enemy has 3 more caster minions, you're really set up for a perfect freeze. So use that as the general rule. Because this is the most common freeze you're going to get. You're never going to get, like, it's rare that you get an excess of melee minions. And because they die first, it's hard to, like, judge when you should freeze based off how many melee minions. You should always base it off how many caster minions versus your caster minions. So you always want a 3+ surplus, basically. So what you want to be doing right now is, like, yeah, making sure this doesn't crash and making sure you thin this out. So I would take this guy out and, like, this guy out as this next wave's crashing in, or you can kind of even leave them because this freeze is just going to get better and better. Yeah, so you don't attack that one. You just last hit this one. Cool. Okay, perfect. Nice, good trade. Nice, really good trade back. Good. Cool. This is a really good spot for you right now. Nice. Notice that's the exact same trade pattern you did before. The taunt outside of dragon. Good, this is fine. Alright, what could we do here? We saw Zach just ganked us. What could we do here to just make sure he doesn't... At least we're a bit more aware.
I have no idea. I sit under my tower.
Yeah, we can also try and ward this tri-bush when you have like a breathing second. Because all you have to do is like get to here and then ward that. Just so you can see if Zach's going to come around here and look for a turret dive. I assume he's not because he's not even level 6. And Camille's way too low. But we can always try and defensively ward there as well. Even though he could just be waiting here. Cool. We're going to be cautious here.
I remember this part of the game. Yeah, I'm taking a big risk. I thought Zach could... There was still a chance Zach could still be in a bush somewhere.
How can we prevent this risk a little bit?
Warding?
Yeah. Because we haven't used a ward yet and it's 7 minutes 30 into the game. This Camille loves to back. Okay, there's no real TP opportunities yet, looks like. Good back timer. You got 1.1k gold to spend, cool. So what are you going for here, Iceborne Gauntlet? Is that what it's called, these frost... I don't know what it's called.
I like to call it Frozen Fist.
Yeah, Frozen Fist, that's it.
Oh, I know there I missed. I probably could have ulted Ari and saved her, but I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah. Okay. Does that happen a lot, you find?
More than I'd like it to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you ever use...
So occasionally, it occasionally happens.
Yeah. Do you ever use... How do you, like, check the states of, like, the health of other lanes, generally? As a top laner, as a Shen.
The health of the lanes? Well,
yeah,
I look at the health bars of my teammates.
Yep. Anything else?
And that's about it, really. I usually don't look at waves, or at least I don't scroll down to the waves.
Okay.
I just take a quick gander at the minimap.
Okay, cool. I think that's a habit you should pick up. So the easiest way to do it is function keys. So F1 to F5.
Oh, the F keys, yeah.
Yeah, and it's super quick, and then you just press spacebar to get back to your champ. So you can do it like in less than a second. And like if you were playing another top laner, I'd be like, mate, you know, it's probably not worth thinking about yet if you don't do it, because it's going to be awkward as fuck. But because you're Shen and because like your global impact is like part of what makes Shen so strong, you need to get better at looking at your other lane states. Besides just health bar and besides just minimap. You need to literally be looking... I would recommend like literally in your next game, at least every time the new wave comes, you should be trying to look at both of these wave states.
to see which one's pushing. Or
Yeah, and just to
which
get a
side is
general
pushing.
feel of like what's going on, and like, oh, okay, these guys are getting pushed in. We could have an opportunity here for a TP, or like, oh, they've got a deep ward here. So like, let's say Zyra Khan push Tristana and Leona here in the next 45 seconds. That means that you've got a really cool TP here that you can use because you haven't used it yet, and because Camille doesn't have hers. It basically means you can get a free gank off, as an example. But when you're never looking at your other lanes, you never actually see these little things. Like Ari could have a ward up here, for example, or here, which means if Anivia pushes in, you could get a flank off and stuff like that. But you'd never even know that there's a ward here, for example, without actually looking at the lane. Oh yeah, I guess your minimap would tell you there's a little speck there, but you probably wouldn't think about it unless you actually went over there with the function keys. Also, do you play locked or unlocked?
Unlocked.
Okay, good. Cool. Yeah, well then
And
that's...
I do use my spacebar often to lock back in.
Yeah, cool. No, that's good. Yeah, because then function keys should come pretty naturally. Nice. Good trades. That's a really good trade. Alright, so talk to me about the current build path here.
I want to build Frozen Fist.
Yep.
And I don't like upgrading. I like upgrading my boots based on the enemy team composition and not just the lane.
The lane. Yep.
So I remember earlier you mentioned that it was a little strange seeing me with Merc Treads instead of Tabbies. But that was because I focused more on Anivia and Zac instead of the lane.
Yeah. And looking at this, looking at how the lane's gone so far, do you think you made the right choice with the Merc Treads?
Well, I haven't gotten them yet.
Yeah, well, with delaying, getting, having to go steel caps or anything like that.
I'm not sure. I thought...
I think it's good. No, I think you don't need steel caps in this game. Camille's not pressuring you enough. So I think you made the right choice. Sorry, I was kind of making it sound like it was the wrong choice, but I wanted to see how the lane went, because if this Camille was like more aggressive, I guess the steel caps could have been an option. But for you, I think in this it's all good. Cool. All right, cool. We can set up another freeze here if we want. We should ping that Camille's miss as well, because your Ari could be in danger. We should also be aware of this, so you should be right now aware of this fight. I
ult here.
Okay, cool.
There I am.
Yeah. Oh, unlucky. Perfect.
Here I hesitated a lot. I'm not sure if I wanted to hit the tower, help them hit the tower, or immediately recall and TP back.
Yeah. I think the TP is better, because if there's like more than 3 people trying to take down a wave, it actually gives the tower more defenses. It's like the more people you have on a tower, the more defenses it has, if that makes sense.
I didn't
So
know
like
that.
2 people can basically take down a tower the same pace at as 3 people. Or like slightly slower, the 2 people, but because, they're not wasting a third person, it's more efficient. Cool. So you've just made your first play that's literally changed a lot of this game, which is great. Nice. This should be a extended fight there. Okay. That's also a really good trade window. Alright. Nice. Alright. We gotta watch. Camille could be roaming here. Oh no, never mind. They get the kill. Perfect. All right, is there any risk right now with this next wave? I know you're trying to push this so it gets into turret.
Yeah, I think there is.
Yeah.
I think I'm assuming Camille recalled,
Yeah.
but I had no idea where Zach was.
Cool. And then you just see him mid, and he's now pathing top. So we gotta. I'm not sure if you're even aware of that when this happens. Nice, you get the platings and then you're back. Perfect.
I realized Camille's gonna try some.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, good preempt. And Zach's there now, you know, as well. Cool, so yeah, you don't want to use your E until you see Zach again, which we kind of just saw.
I noticed Karthus is also here.
Yeah. How can we... Okay. So we notice Karthus, right? So what do we want to do if we notice Karthus coming to our lane?
Keep vision of Camille.
Yeah. And what happens here?
Camille hurts Karthus.
Yeah. So do you think you could have done this last 10 seconds any differently? So pretty much as soon as we notice Karthus is coming, what can we do here?
Stick with Camille.
Yeah, because this wave isn't going to crash. So this wave is going to get dragged with you, which basically means these 4 minions are going to follow you to like here, and then they're going to like lose aggro because you'll go out of range or whatever. And that just means you've now set up a freeze unintentionally, plus you're now here to protect Karthus. But instead we go for auto attacks here, we pivot back, and now we've wasted like 3 or 4 seconds, which we could have done helping out Karthus.
Yeah.
And who knows, you guys might have got the kill here. Like, let's say you were here 3-4 seconds earlier, or Camille would have never come up. Either way, this is like positive for you guys if you were there 3-4 seconds earlier. Alright. What do we know is coming up now is like the next global objective?
Dragon.
Yeah. This is kind of well played by them to get through the vision. This is also the fact that you haven't warded in 12 minutes, which you should do. Yeah. That's kind of a bad habit. Do you think you need to flash it?
I thought I did need to flash it. Camille might have ult.
Yeah. Okay. I think it's safe. Cool, so we see Zach go. We should be playing more aggressive now. Yeah, good. Okay, use your shield to see us, which is okay. We can go in here, yeah. Cool. Now, what do we want to try and... Okay, no, never mind. They're getting dragon for that. So actually, your whole interaction with Zach here is perfect because it just allows you guys to get dragged. I will push this next... Sorry?
Otherwise, what should I have done? Like, you said it worked out because of something, but...
Yeah, I didn't realize your team was going to start doing dragons straight away. I would have said you try and follow the Camille or not let her get her TP off, basically. But because Zach was here and never got to drag, and Karthus and Triss like literally went dragon on spawn, as soon as you see Zach go, you now want to be pressuring Camille as much as possible so that she can't TP here. Because we know that she has TP up now because she used her first TP like, 6 minutes ago.
Yeah.
But you don't have any global pressure. So the only way to deny her global pressure is to deny her TP. So you basically want to be trading super aggressive here. Because we know Zach's gone, so it's just a 1v1. Which you kind of do almost. But here then you go for the freeze. Which is okay because your team's already doing dragon. Which basically means Camille can't get here in time. So you're okay now. But what I'd do here is probably push this next wave. Because there's no real risk here. I know you've got 1,600 gold you want to spend. But we saw Zach go this way. So you're pretty much safe to push this, crash this, and then make Camille lose another like 200 gold and extend your lead from like 500 to like 600, 700.
Yeah, I knew here the wave was in her favor, but I didn't know what else to do.
Yeah. So why didn't you want to push this wave? Let's talk about that. This wave here.
Yeah. So I didn't want to push it because I thought it wouldn't crash to the Shen is. I've always thought Shen is really slow at pushing waves, so I thought it would just take too long, and Camille would come back and crash it into my tower before I'd get to lane, and I lose a wave anyways. So I thought there wouldn't be a point.
Okay. Looking at it now, do you still think that's the right call?
I thought I would lose a wave anyways. At that point, because this is why I'm not good at managing waves.
No, it's good. No, it's fine. Yeah. Sorry, I just like to get you to talk through it to understand your thought process. All right, cool. So
I just think that I would lose a wave anyways.
Yeah.
So there'd be no point, and I should just recall.
Okay. So all right? First of all, this wave's really easy to push with a Shen with Balmy Cinder because there's no cannon. So this would take you like maybe 10 seconds. We also know the next wave's position while you're backing because we can see it on our screen. Right?
Yeah.
And what do we know about a cannon wave?
They push a lot.
They also take longer to kill, right? A cannon wave takes longer to kill because they've got the cannon. So if we push this in, takes, let's say, 10 seconds. It'll take about 10 seconds, 15 seconds to, I don't know the exact math, for this next minion wave to get to here. Therefore, you can probably push this and get it crashed here. And then your cannon wave basically means you don't lose a wave, if that makes sense. So you could push this out. This would crash before this minion wave spawns because you see how far back it is on your screen, which means on their screen, it's also this far back on their side. And therefore, you can push this wave. If this was a cannon wave, I'd say you're thinking in the right way. You wouldn't have been able to push this in time. But because this isn't a cannon wave, you are able to push this. So basically, Shen, whenever you're in doubt of whether you can push a wave or not, look at, is it a cannon wave or not? And then look at the position of the next wave. And then use your, then decide and make a choice. Yeah. Because this just gives you another little micro lead, like 100, 150 gold, plus pressure. Because it might force Camille to use her TP now back to base. I don't know how close she is. Yeah, she's still a base now. So you'd push this, and you'd get it to crash before this wave spawns. And then she either has the choice of losing this wave or using her TP. And then you've got the next macro advantage over her. So just pushing limits. And I guess you bought your Frozen Fist as well, which is good. Because now she's got a slow push going to her.
Yep.
Alright, so with the current state of play, what information do we need to be aware of coming into this lane?
Zach is most likely not in his blue jungle.
Yeah, exactly. And Rift Herald's up. They might not know these two are there, though. Cool. So we see him. Nice. Okay, and Camille's just TP'd. Okay, so a fight's breaking out. Let's make sure you get a TP off here. Good. Perfect. Awesome. Nice. Okay, Karthus goes.
Like here, was it correct to help them here, or should I have gone back to my lane?
Get this plating and then you'd leave. Yeah, perfect. Now you should just back though. There's no real point going to that. Yeah, perfect. I would suggest if Karthus didn't go to blue buff, I would say you guys should take Rift. but Karthus prioritized the blue buff over Rift, which is like a common jungler thing. I definitely would have gone Rift over blue buff, but that's just Karthus's like jungle preference. And it also means he gets pressure on the Xayah. That's probably not going to work out though. But we'll see how... Okay, so we see a TP. Well, we don't see this TP. Oh, that's Camille's TP. Okay. That's actually a pretty good trade by Trist. Okay. Wow. That was a good TP by Camille. I thought she TP'd down here earlier, but she just walked bot side.
Yeah.
Alright. Well played by Camille. Gets herself back in the game a little bit. Yeah, she's now only like 14 gold behind you. Cool. You couldn't have really done anything about that Camille TP.
I couldn't have. Yeah, I noticed all my shit was down.
Yeah. Okay, so you're building... What are you building next? You're building Hydra?
Titanic Hydra, yeah.
Okay. Cool, we've got to be cautious here now.
I'm not.
Alright,
yeah.
So why do we have to be...
I kind of didn't understand how that happened.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk...
I mean, yeah, I knew she had double buffs, but I don't know, I didn't think I would get solo kill like that.
Yeah. Alright, so what else do we know about Camille right now?
She finished her Triforce.
Yeah. That's like a big power spike for her.
I actually did not notice that at the time.
Yeah.
Until after she solo killed me.
Yeah, because like you're level 11 and she's level 10, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what we got to assume, particularly because she got a kill, is we got to assume that she's going to come back with like some good items. And basically, whenever you see your enemy come back in a lane, you should make it a habit of like clicking on them or pressing tab and making sure you know exactly what items they have before you take your next trade. Because knowing she has Triforce basically means she's hit like a bigger power spike than you have with your Frozen Fist. And particularly because you don't really have any defensive stats like plated steel caps or anything like that. Obviously you've got this guy which gives you 25 armor and 350 health, but besides that, you don't have that many defenses against her. So you basically have won this trade up until like the first 15 minutes. Like you've won most of the trades just because of your kit and the way Shen operates against like an auto attack based champion. But as soon as Camille gets that Triforce, she now has like a lot of cooldown plus blue buff, which basically means she can like constantly be jumping into you. And you see it kind of happens twice in a row. And then you die here. Yeah. So as soon as this trade happens, this is pretty much your sign to run away. Yet you keep trying to trade, and now you stay around for this CS, and then yeah, it's just a bit of disrespect to the opponent, which leads you to die. Up until this point, you were in the lead of this Camille for the first 15 minutes, and then you make one little mistake, which like kind of erases your whole 15 minutes of hard work, which is tough. So that's really important to make sure that you know what items. So basically, it's like know what items like your enemy has before you engage on them, especially when they've reset. Because offensive champions, their power spikes are much bigger than yours. So like offensive-based champions like Renekton's, Camille's, stuff like that, when they get their mythic, it's a much bigger power spike than when like a Shen, Cho'Gath, or someone like that gets a mythic, because theirs are more defensive, whereas an offensive power spike is generally a lot bigger, which you kind of just saw play out. Like you had a level on her, and she still just like melted you.
Yeah, which is why I thought I could do that, but clearly I did not.
Karthus could be in trouble there. Oh, well played by Karthus. Wow. Nice, good TP. Probably didn't need to, but I mean, that was really lucky by Karthus. That was very well played by her. That was a good TP. Cool. You get a lot of free time on this turret now. You've also got your TP up. So I'm not sure what's going to happen here. Never mind, they just get the kills. Perfect. Cool. Alright. So this is another micro advantage that you can do. So when you see a wave like this, what are your options to kill this next enemy wave coming in?
I can proxy it?
Yeah, exactly. Because we have Karthus here as well. So we're super safe to proxy this. There's real no risk in proxying this, and it just gives you a bit more time on this turret. So it adds like just a few seconds, which is again is like a nice micro advantage. So make sure like right now you'd be wanting to go like here and just proxy this. Because now you have to go away from attacking the turret. Whereas if you proxied, these minions would now crash into the turret, which basically means Camille loses more CS more quickly, and you also can proxy this and then go straight back to hitting the turret. But now, because of this, you wait for the whole wave to reset. Like, there's no real time here, and now I'm not sure what you're doing. Could be typing, who knows? Yeah, that's alright. So now, yeah, we get less damage. Probably we lose like 100.
I think I was hesitating between looking for a freeze or pushing it.
Yeah.
Cause yeah, it's moments like those where I hesitate a lot and I don't know what to do.
Cool. All right. I wonder if we could have... Were you aware of this fight breaking out?
I'm not sure. I can't remember at the time if I was aware of that.
Okay. I'm not sure what would have happened if you TP'd in here. Like, let's say you TP here. I think it could... I mean, the Anivia might have just zoned you out. I don't know if anything would happen there. Okay. What could you be telling that Anivia right now? Let's say we're on comms with her. So we saw what Karthus just died. Basically, she doesn't really want to trade here. Because they have priority. Sorry, Ari. Sorry, Ari. Because you're on comms with her, right? You pretty much want to be telling her not to trade there. But... That's okay. I don't know how you guys like talk in comms, but you should probably be telling her she doesn't want to fight there.
Why? Just because she was low, or?
Yeah, and you guys just don't have priority. Like you don't know where Camille is. Camille could come round. Your Karthus is already dead. Leona's not in the fight, so it's just basically Tristana and Ari versus the world.
Yeah.
And she's already on like 40% health. And we know the enemy team now has Prio and Dragon, which means they basically have Prio here as well. So yeah, you have no real choice now but to try and take this. Alright. Are we... what are we thinking here with the current state of play?
I wanted to recall and perhaps look for a TP onto Dragon.
Cool.
I ulted Karthus.
Yeah. It should still work out, I think. Because Ari's coming. Nice. Alright. So we ult Karthus basically because we don't know he has Zhonya's. Otherwise, we probably would have ulted Tristana. Mind you, I don't know if you would have saved Tristana's life there, so you might not have even been able to get in this fight. So I still think Karthus is probably the better...
The better one to ult?
Yeah, I think so. Just because if you didn't get that ult off on Tristana, you wouldn't have been in for that fight. And I'm not sure if you guys still would have gotten all the kills. Okay, so you're looking for the kill on Nivea.
Yeah, that I just missed.
That was a bit risky. Probably not worth. Because we didn't even know if she had egg or not, right? Or did you know she didn't have egg?
I think I did know that she didn't have egg.
Okay. Alright, so now both you and Camille have basically your TPs up. Oh, you warded once so far. Okay. So we've put one ward down in 20 minutes, which isn't bad. Good. This could be a second ward here on Baron Pit, maybe. Nice, okay. There we go, we got a second. This is good. Looking for, like, potential opportunities. That's also the first time you've roamed out of your lane besides using, like, TP or ult. Which is something also interesting to note. Camille's probably done it maybe 2 or 3 times. Cool, you're freezing, you don't really know what's going on. Because you don't know where Camille is. You don't have much information, so this is kind of playing cautious is good. You also just use your flash here to do a super risky play, so you're probably feeling like, okay, I should tune it back a bit. We're up 10 kills.
Turning it down a little.
Yeah, my team's doing pretty well. Maybe I just ride this out a bit. Cool. Alright, we see all your team coming top, so we should now be pushing this. Because it basically means you have priority, and you're super safe to do this. Why do you think you should be pushing this out?
Because my team is here. Because my team is here, and I can get top lane pressure for Baron.
Yeah, or you guys can all group and take the tier 2. Like it gives you more options. Whereas this doesn't really give your team an option. Like slow pushing this. Cool. So they jump in. You've got your ult.
I do ult.
Oh, you don't get out in time. Yeah, it doesn't come off. You've still got your TP. Okay, TP there. Good. Oh, unlucky. Nice. Good job. Really good shield there as well to protect, auto attack block. Good job. Cool. This is kind of risky. You guys don't want to stay here too much longer. Hopefully you guys don't get caught. But basically, you can tell Zach's trying to set up something here. So you should assume that something's going down.
Yeah, I think Cartus and I were well aware of the risks, but we decided to do it.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I don't think you could have stopped that Karthus doing that. But yeah, you can't do anything too much here. You don't want to commit here. Yeah. Want to time your jump? Never mind.
I held on to my taunt there because I was so afraid of it being interrupted, but I just died anyways.
Yeah. Also, if you had your flash up from this risky play, you probably could have got out as well.
God, we ain't never gonna stop mentioning that. It's cool.
So as soon as Camille backs off, this is when you should back off. But see, notice how like an extra second, almost 2 seconds here, you're still going aggressive. I guess Tristana's in, right? But this aggression doesn't really make sense even with Tristana going in here. Like, ideally you should be backing off and either going down here or just trying to run away. Because, like, this Anivia's kind of their only win con at the moment, really. Like, Camille is a little bit, but their Anivia is really, like, their strongest champ at the moment. And you haven't really built any magic... Oh, you've built Merc Treads. So you got a bit of magic resist. Yeah. So, yeah, you want to E there. You've still got time to E here. I know Camille's still going to jump you, but you have a lot of opportunities here. Still to get hit by everything. Your team does win that fight, though, maybe because you're delaying them. But I think you still could have delayed both of these people and gotten out, or at least tried to run away. So I think your early game was really good. Your first 15 minutes of this game was really good. And then, like, it almost seems like you're a bit lost what to do when your team's, like, winning. It feels like you're almost trying to make plays that you don't have to do. Like, this Anivia one was just, like... It was, like... I know I keep going back to it, but it's, like... If your team's up 10 kills in a solo queue game and, you know, we're gold 1 and we're trying to get back to our last rank of plat and then go beyond, it's, like... Should a gold 1 player who's looking to get... Or should a plat player who's looking to get back to their last season's rank be going for a play like that when they're a Shen top and their team's like ahead by 10 kills? It's like, probably not. Because it then comes to bite you back. It's just like unnecessary risks that are like micro, but like they can add up. And if like this game was a little bit closer, it might have actually, you know, caused a much bigger problem. But it almost feels like you're trying to have impact when you almost... You're not... I'm not going to say you're getting carried because heaps of your TPs have been high impact or anything like that. Like, your ults and your TPs have been really good. But it's like, you can kind of take, like, a second... Like, a back seat in this game. And as long as you're just playing, like, functionally average, you're going to do okay. You don't have to do anything flashy. But it feels like you're almost trying to. Like, holding off abilities, stuff like that. Because now you're, like, not here. I mean, I assume your team... Like, now you're not alive. You're alive now and you've got ult, so it's fine. But, I mean, if that was longer cooldowns, we might not be alive for this. Cool, so you come down. Nice, good TP. Nice. Good job, really good TP there. Good, you put your control ward. Jesus. That Anivia's strong. Alright, you guys got to give this drag. Never mind, they're giving it. This is pretty risky. I mean, are you guys going to get this? Wow. Okay. I would have thought Zach would come back here for sure, but...
Yeah, that's what I remember that moment. I think I didn't want to do it because Zach was still alive.
Yeah.
But I think Karthus was pinging to do it, and then Ari and I were looking at each other like, okay, let's just do it. And I guess we did it.
Good job. That's really good for you guys. Right, let's look at this whole fight play out. Cool. So we weren't staying in base because you weren't expecting the fight to break out this quick, right?
Should I have stayed in base? Or
Well, because you get the like the speed. So it basically means as you TP, you get the TP speed boost plus like the home. I think it's home guards. I don't know what the passive's called. So which basically means until you take damage, you can be like fast as fuck, coming out of that TP. But it's okay. I was assuming you were leaving because you were going to catch this wave and you didn't expect the fight to break out.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I wanted to get mid prio.
Yeah. Cool. Shame Ari misses that. That probably would have been a dead Camille. Cool. You aim for Zach, closest target, which makes sense. Alright. Alright. Talk me through what you're thinking here.
I thought I needed to either PO for Karthus or get on the Zaya.
Okay, and do you think you were doing that with how we... like, when we watched that, do you think you were doing a good job with Karthus?
Well, he ended up dying, so I'm not sure. I think my taunt wasn't up, or either I was too far away.
Your taunt's up. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, what's... If we're trying to protect Karthus right now, and we're the Shen, what's kind of wrong with the current stance here?
Yeah, I think I was hesitating too much because I thought the fight was lost, or that I was too late into protecting Karthus, and by the time we get there, he would already die.
Yeah.
So I said there was just a lot of hesitation, and I thought I should just let him die and walk away.
Yeah.
Or maybe keep following up if I had Leona and Ari. Just depending on how things would go.
Yeah. It's a shame Karthus didn't use his Zhonya's there unless he didn't have it. Oh, cool. I mean, that fight was okay. I mean, you basically did everything right. I think maybe we could have protected Karthus a little bit more, but I think in the end it worked out. I think here you now want to be like zoning this. Like you don't want Karthus to have to zone this. It almost should be you up here. Because you're way more mobile. You've got your E up. So even if like Camille hook shots over or Anivia or they try and root you or stun you or anything, you're basically protecting Karthus from that first round of engagement. Whereas instead, everyone gets caught by it now. That combo that probably you could have tanked for the boys. But who knows what would have happened anyway. I mean, she ends up getting the... Karthus ends up getting the kill and you guys end up getting the dragon. So it's good overall. Good job. Alright, so 30 to 20, what do you kind of want to do? 30 to 20, 24 minutes in, you guys have 3 drags. What are kind of your macro options right now as a team?
Well, Baron is up, so I think at this point I want to send myself bot lane and have my team pressure mid and Baron.
Yep. What's the one problem with that right now?
I'm not sure. I don't have my globals.
Yeah, so we're a little bit risky. So what do we do to, I guess, circumvent that? Like, with this current game, what do we do? If we can't really split, what should we do as the Shen?
Just group with the team?
Yeah, perfect. Exactly. Because we're 30 to 20, we've got 3 drags, we're up gold. You guys aren't really on a timer. Like, I guess Anivia outscales Ari. But Zaya, Tristana, I mean, I guess Zaya kind of outscales Tristana, but you guys aren't really on a timer, so you don't have to, like, rush this or anything, or you don't have to force, like, a split push that you can't actually pull off. So if your team wants to group, you should basically group, but if your team wants to chill out at 24 minutes, just let them chill out until your globals come up. But you see Anivia going here, so a side lane's perfect. Because you know Karthus and the Ari are in no danger here defending that. So this side lane's perfect. And your ult's going to be up in about probably like 15, 20 seconds anyway. So this should be all good. So what are your win cons right now as a team?
Tristana and Karthus.
Yeah. What about like objectives?
I'm not sure.
Well,
Baron?
Yeah.
I don't know.
And what's the other one?
The Nexus.
No, what's the one you guys just fought over?
Soul.
Yeah, Infernal Soul. That's a pretty big win con, right? So you guys have a few win cons, which is like a beautiful thing when you're playing ahead. and you've developed like a strong lead, it now means you guys have like multiple win cons. You can fight, get open inhib, you can wait for the next dragon, you can pressure the Baron with your split push. So it's just good to know that you have multiple like win conditions right now because you're at 25 minutes, because you have a gold lead, and because you got 3 drags. So it's just good to be aware macro of like, okay, what are our teams like objectives here and options? Yeah. So you're aware of them all, and you don't get confused as to why like your team just chills out for the next 5 minutes and waits for Infernal Drag or something like that. Cool, so this is really good by you. Perfect. You need to be a little cautious after you take this turret, just because you haven't seen anyone in a while, but we see Zach, we see Camille. Nice, you TP off. I think the TP's okay there because it's Tristana. She's your win con, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, ooh. Nice. That's so worth. Perfect. Anivia's bot side as well, so this is really good for you guys. Perfect. Awesome. You guys now have Baron. The beauty of Shen. Fuck. He's so good for macro. I love Shen. Good job.
Yeah, Shen's been one of my mains for a while.
He's so good. Oh, shit. Nice. You guys wait. Oh, don't tell me. Oh. Okay, nice. Zach pre-smited. Good job.
On those moments, we have to stop doing the Baron and wait for him, right?
As long as you all agree to.
Been...
Yeah. So, like, see how Karthus isn't attacking it anymore? Yeah, you figure it out. Cool. Yeah, perfect. You attacked it for a little bit too long.
Yeah.
Like, as soon as Karthus stops attack, like, you basically want to do what the smite... Whoever the person who has smite, you want to do to the objective what they're doing, if in doubt.
Yeah.
So if they stop attacking, you stop attacking, which is a really easy way to make sure, like, objectives don't go wrong. Basically, like, your jungler's more in control than you are of this objective because they have the smite. So almost think of them as, like, the supreme leader when it comes to, like, barons and dragons. Yeah, but it works out because you do stop attacking. But see how Karthus stops for like a few more seconds than you do? Which is okay, but basically he starts attacking it again actually, so you're okay here. Cool, and then you guys all stop together. Nice. Also, he's level 15 versus level 11, so the smite difference, I don't know if you know, but yeah, like every level you get more damage on your smite. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's... Yeah, you did basically everything right there. Cool. You gave Karthus the kill as well, which is good. You got just 2 shutdowns as well. Nice. Cool, so do you always go Titanic Hydra?
I actually just started because I just found out about this build.
Okay, cool.
Usually I used to just build Sunfire and then full tank from there.
Sunfire and full tank.
Yep. And now I just started building Frostfire into Titanic.
Okay, cool. Where'd you find this build?
I heard about it from a friend that said it's just really good because since Frostfire gives extra health as its mythic passive, and then Titanic does damage based on how much health you have.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it. I was also thinking you might be doing it to, like, counter the Camille a bit. Because it's like, if you build a bit of damage, at least you can trade back against the Camille. So I kind of also like it based on this game's situation. Yeah, I think it's a cool build. I think it's really good because Shen does have some damage problems, but this really negates it while still making sure you're a bit tanky. So it's a good build. Cool, you go top. Excellent. You've got your ult up. You've got your TP up. Perfect. Oh my god, she's still chunks.
Yeah. At this point, I was getting flashbacks to when I got solo kill.
Nice. If you die here, we know why you're going to die. Cool. You get the kill, though. Perfect. Now we're looking for TPs, but you should be okay.
Wait,
Awesome.
if I died, what would have been the reason?
Let's go. Let's see if you can spot it.
I know I missed my taunt.
Yeah, that
Like,
was the one thing I would have said you'd die for here.
I mean, I didn't taunt into her, but I taunted to avoid the hook shot, but she still got me with it anyways, and I thought that's right.
Yeah, so just that missed timing, like you could have waited that, because she like you don't have to worry about Camille until she's actually on the terrain. That's when you start having to worry, and then if you've got good reaction times, you don't even have to react until she actually releases, because she can hang onto the terrain for like a split second.
Yeah.
And like try and bait you out, but you basically taunt before she's even gotten onto the terrain. So that was really the only reason, and maybe like you didn't have to flash here because your taunt either dodged her or did something else. But you still get the kill. You still get the same result, and your team's winning over here, so it doesn't really matter in terms of like the outcome. But in terms of the process, it wasn't optimal. But you still get the same outcome, so it's kind of okay. And then this is basically like GG, yeah. You can group with your team here, or you can just keep pushing. You'd probably want to group with your team here, just because they're looking to end, and this isn't really ending. This is just like getting another inhib. But, yeah, I mean, maybe you guys could have ended if you were there, but you still get the turret.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can't really TP in there or anything like that. You guys get both turrets. So at least you're set up nicely now for Infernal. I don't know if you were there with your team. You guys could have ended or not. But you guys still do get a pretty good outcome. And now you've got the Infernal win con. So this game's all about just closing out and not throwing, really. At this point.
Mm.
Cool, let's skip to the next fight. Good job. Yeah. Cool, you got to push mid. Good job, because you know your team's got Dragon. Again, let's just do what the team's doing just in case. But, I mean, Karthus is with you, so it's okay. And you guys are going to converge together on the Nexus anyway. Alright, so you're backing because you want to TP in, I assume? Ult in?
Yeah.
Nice. Good job.
Yeah, that's about it.
That's about it. Alright, cool. Alright, so watching it back, how did you feel like the game went?
It probably could have ended sooner. If it wasn't for unnecessary plays.
Yeah. Anything else?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Cool. Were you happy? Like, did you see watching the replay back? Were you happy with some things in particular, or not happy with some things? Like watching the laning phase, watching your mid game.
Yeah, I'm not happy about warding.
Yep.
I could have done a better job about that.
Yep.
I'm not happy with how I manage this. I'm not at some parts how I managed the wave, but I guess that's why I'm here.
Yep.
I am happy about a couple decisions I made, just like knowing what lane to be in, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, the most recent example I can think of was that last dragon. I went to mid lane because of, yeah.
You knew your team had it, basically.
Yeah. I'm glad that my build worked out.
Yep.
That it wasn't a bad decision.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
No, that's good. Just trying to figure out how you kind of saw the game. So that's good. All right. Did you learn a little bit about wave management today? A little bit more?
I certainly did.
Okay,
Yes.
good.
Uh,
That's good. I can also, I think there could be some videos on better wave management as top lane if you want me to send those through. I think there's some on YouTube that I can find for you. I don't remember the player off by heart who talks about it, but there are some like more in-depth stuff if you want to understand it a bit better as well.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? There are videos I can watch about wave management?
Yeah, top lane wave management in particular for certain outcomes, like managing wave if an objective's coming up, managing wave if you don't know where your enemy jungler is, stuff like that. Which could be good for you as well to watch if you're into like learning like that as well. I can send those to you after this review.
Cool. I would greatly appreciate that.
Awesome.
Would you mind elaborating on trade before you reset if enemy resets first? I know that's referring to how Camille recalled and TP'd back.
Yeah.
And I stuck around, but I don't know.
Yeah. So basically that's all about getting an upper hand in your lane. So it's basically creating a lane advantage for yourself off an enemy mistake. So the way you want to see top lane, particularly when you're both playing TP, is how can I get my enemy to use TP before I do? And then how can I punish them for that? And this is basically the most basic way. You take a trade, you force them to TP, which you did. She was on like 20 health or whatever, I think, for that first trade. And then as soon as they TP back on the minion wave, you make that choice, which you did, of I'm going to try and trade her here, like trade against her. And the best outcome here is as long as you don't die, you win no matter what, because you're now coming back to a lane with full HP and they've come back to the lane and now they're on like 68% HP, which we kind of saw play out in that laning phase, which basically gave you like a nice little lane lead for the next few minutes. Yeah. So basically it's like if you know your enemy's TPing back into lane and you haven't yet reset and you think you can take the trade, always take the trade, because it's a net positive for you in terms of like the next 2 minutes of the game, the next 2, 3 to 5 minutes of the game. Because it basically means you come back to lane way stronger than they do. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that does make sense. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. This one, I think if we're building defensive, like let's say you've got a Doran shield and you've got second wind, you can afford to take some damage to get CS, particularly at like level 1. Like, because Camille can't one-shot you at level 1. She can like get one grasp proc off, but I don't think losing 3 CS, and it fucks your wave. Let's actually go back at it. Let's go back at this. So it does, like, in terms of, like... In terms of the actual outcome, it works out. So, like, if we're looking at, like, outcome-orientated playstyle, which you don't want to look at. You don't want to look at, like, as long as we win, everything I did works, right? We don't want to look at League like that. Because that's how you, like, coin flip and all that shit. We actually want to look at like processes. It's like, okay, I did the wrong thing and it worked out. Well, that's not the right process. So yeah, it worked out, but we don't want to be doing that because eventually it's not going to work out. So here, this whole timidness here, just to avoid this. So right now she's just used her abilities. So all she's going to get off on you is a proc of her grasp and you're just going to get these 3 CS. But instead what happens now is she's got this really hard push on the wave and she actually generates a 9 CS lead on you before you've even yet to take any CS. Which then causes this suboptimal trade here where you try and get the taunt off under turret. As we see. And now we're taking heaps of damage.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that happens. All because of those first 3 CS, you let the wave push in too much. And basically, we never want the wave to, like, crash this early on. because it means Camille can actually get like a cheetah recall. Do you know what a cheetah recall is?
Oh, yeah, I've heard about that.
Yeah, Camille
I
can
don't know how to
base.
pull it off.
Yeah, this Camille right now could pull off a cheetah recall right now with how she's done the wave, but she doesn't. So basically, it means she can get a backer off now and just walk back to lane without having to use TP or anything. And now you're stuck at lane like on 20% health, 30% health with a health pot. Instead, she chooses to stay. And overall, this works out, right? Because she eventually like gets so low that she has to back. But if you were versing a better top laner, they wouldn't have gotten into this situation. And then you do this, which is great. Yeah. And now you have a really big advantage because you push this wave in. Now you're backing with 22 CS and she backed with about 11 CS. So now you've backed with way more gold than she has. As you can see, she's got like 300 gold unspent. You've got 750 and she's also on 40% health. So it's just really good in terms of overall. But that start fucked you up because this wave came in. And if this was a better top laner, Camille would have done a cheetah recall and got back to lane. And you would have still been at lane with like 50, 60% health. And then this whole lane could have played out completely differently. But because she greeted, stayed, and then almost got killed, it worked out for you. But basically, you could have got punished a lot bad, a lot more worse, a lot more badly. Yeah, cool. Yeah, so that's that, and that's this. Basically, like those 3 CS set, put you at a disadvantage for like the first like 3 minutes of the game, or like that next 1 minute 30 after the minions spawned. But because Camille didn't play it correctly, you got away with it. But you can't think that was, I guess, okay behavior. Like, you should never give away 3 CS because of fear of a grasp. Because 1, you lose the CS. 2, your wave gets fucked up. And then 3, that Camille now thinks she's like king of the castle. She thinks she's got lane kingdom, which basically means you either have to now prove to her that, like, you know, you're not going to let her do that. And you might take an unfavorable trade like you did where you thought you could taunt her under turret. And then you can get dominated even further. Luckily she didn't, but it's like a cascading events. It's like you do one thing wrong and then the next sequence of events get harder and harder until you make a mistake. But luckily she made the mistake first.
Yep.
Cool. Missing ults is Shen. Yeah, I think the function keys, particularly every single time a new minion wave comes, you should be able to cycle through your function keys and get like a quick situation report on every lane state. So basically, you just go F2, F3, F4, F5, and you know, within 1 second, you know every position of your teammates and like how their wave's going. Particularly when you're about to get level 6, but even pre-6, if you've got TP advantage like you do in this lane, sometimes there's opportunities to get like a level 4 TP off in bot lane if their enemy's really pushed in and they have a deep ward like we looked at in that example. So just make sure you're using your function keys more for a bit of awareness. Because you miss 1 ult, I think, on your on the person you're duoing with, but it kind of works out because 30 seconds later, I think you ult and you wouldn't have been able to ult that. And I think it's like over dragon or saying it gets you the first dragon. So it kind of works out again. But yeah, just make sure you're aware of that. Ward more often. I think it took you like 7 minutes or 11 minutes or something to use your first ward, which is a big problem. I think you could have avoided at least 1 gank and maybe even 1 flash using ward against Zac, particularly because it felt like he was almost camping you. Wave management. Basically that 3 minion rule. Like, or you always want 3 enemy caster minions. So whatever you can do to get that result, do that. And if in doubt, like, leave a couple extra. So if you can see like 6 enemy casters, it's like, okay, maybe take 1 or 2 of them, but make sure you always have at least like 3 to 4 to get your freeze set up. And then you can just break it whenever you want.
Gotcha.
Putting that to one note further is Barmy's Cinder prevents freezing. So if you go Barmy's first, just be aware that it's a trade-off. It's like, I'm getting better wave clear, but I'm also trading off the fact that it's going to be much harder for me to freeze. Because obviously when you go to last hit, your Barmy's like burns everything around you a little bit.
Yeah.
So just make sure when you're buying Barmy's Cinder, understand that freezing then becomes a little harder. It's not impossible, but just understand that's a little like micro trade-off that you do when you get Barmy's, which is fine. It's always just dependent on what the lane state's going as. And particularly because that Camille was like always pushing you in and she wasn't really thinking about her wave, I think it was fine to go Barmy's there. Another good one with this is, particularly as a top lane, like, yes, you're on a bit of an island, but particularly when you're comfortable with your champion like Shen, you should really be thinking about every single time like a new wave comes into your lane, you should be thinking about like what you want to do with that lane and why. So it's like, I want to freeze this lane. Why? Well, because I don't know where Zac is, or I know Dragon's up in 30 seconds and I've got my ult. So basically, every time a new wave comes in, you want to ask yourself, what do you want to do with this wave and why? And one that avoids like autopiloting. So it gets you, particularly if you're a player who like plays like 5, 6, 10 games a row in a day. I don't know if you do. It avoids that autopiloting where like you're just going through the motions, just playing the game and not really thinking. It gives you like a little like refresher on, okay, hang on, what do I actually want to do with this game? It also prevents those situations occurring where like you backed early because you couldn't think you could crash the wave. Whereas if you actually thought about that wave, you would have noticed that the next wave's a cannon wave, which basically means you can get that recall off and you wouldn't have lost anything and you might have forced the Camille TP out. Which then could have changed the next like 60 to 2 minutes to 5 minutes of the game, depending. The next one is like power spikes. So understand with offensive champs like Camille, Renekton, stuff like that in top lane, that when they get their power spike, they're going to be really strong. So to avoid that, just always make sure you're pressing tab or looking at your enemy's items. And always like reevaluating how you win the fight. Because just because you won the fight like 60 seconds ago, if Camille gets like a cash injection of like 1,200 gold, it's like, okay, I might not win the next fight in 60 seconds when she comes back into lane. But because you're winning like kind of almost that middle part of your laning phase, like I think it was like maybe like the 6 to 15 minute mark, you're winning the phase, you immediately thought, even though she had the Triforce and she came back to lane, you still could win the fight, but then you got burnt and ended up dying for it. Overall, I think your macro awareness was really good. Like your mid to late game TPs were just on point. Your team fighting pretty much like how you should. You're a little bit cautious, which was okay because it kept working out and your team had a gold lead and a lead. So it meant that you didn't really have to force anything, which is nice as Shen. The only problem was where you flash taunted to the Anivia, which is basically forcing something you don't have to. But that's okay. And I also think your build was really good. It meant that like when you TP'd in, you had a lot of impact. Your team didn't also really need a tank because you had Leona, which meant you could go a bit more bruiser, which was nice. And you were able to do that. So I think the Titanic Hydra is really good there. Particularly if you have like another tank on your team, but maybe if you had like a squishy support, you might want to think about building a bit more tanky depending on your team's damage output. Because your team basically had enough damage that game. Like Tristana, Ari, Karthus, they were all dealing enough damage for you to be able to build tank if you had to. But I think in that game, the Titanic Hydra was really good because it meant, one, you could trade against Camille, and two, you could have really good impact when you TP'd in. Which is really good. But besides that, I think you're playing pretty well, man. You look comfortable on Shen. There's a couple of missed timings, like try and avoid using your Q to CS unless it's under turret. Particularly if you've got your shield passive up, because it basically just wastes your shield. And better players, particularly Camille's who are hypermobile, they're going to punish you more for that. There's a few times where you use your Q to CS a bit better, and then like Camille comes in and trades against you, and you can't really trade back. Or at least mitigate some of the damage, which is a bit of a problem. But that will get minimized as well through better wave management, stuff like that. Also, taunts, just understand with Camille, she's going to break your taunt. You can't really break hers. It's really hard for you to actually interrupt her, like, jump. I think the only way you can interrupt it is if you taunt her while she's on the terrain itself. Otherwise, at every other moment when she's traveling, if she's traveling directly at you, you're never going to be able to interrupt her. She's always going to interrupt you. If that makes sense. If you're coming at an angle, like from the side, your taunt can interrupt her. But if she's coming directly onto you, never use your taunt unless you're trying to like dodge it. Don't use it aggressively. Always use it defensively in that situation.
For sure.
And you'll avoid little shitty matchups like shitty trades like that. And the last thing was like she built bone plating. I don't think it happened too much, but just make sure don't take a trade while she has bone plating up. Try and like do one auto attack like a grasp, and then let the bone plating passive run out, go on cooldown, and then go for your next trade. So that's something to be aware of just when you're versing or when you're playing against people who've gone bone plating. Because basically it means they're going to win the trade, or at least do a lot better than you are, particularly if you don't have bone plating.
Gotcha.
Cool season.
What should I do when I'm against a very oppressive matchup, specifically Darius? I realize I lose every time I'm into Darius as Shen.
Cool. What's Darius's win con?
Well, he's a big lane bully.
Yeah.
He does scale off later in the game, but he wants to win lane and get himself an early lead to make sure he wins the game quickly and not fall off.
Cool. So what can you do to prevent that win condition?
I have no idea. Just not die to him, I guess.
Yeah. What runes does Darius generally go as well?
Conqueror.
Sorry,
right?
Summoner spells. Yeah, you're right.
I've seen them take Ghost and Flash.
Yeah. So what does that mean in terms of like post 6 as a Shen? He's got Ghost and Flash, you've got Flash and TP.
I can get out of lane.
Yeah.
With my ult.
And he can't. So basically, you got to play that lane. Depending on how aggressive the Darius is, you just got to play the lane to lose, but make sure you're not losing.
Gracefully.
Yeah, lose in terms of CS, but not in terms of deaths. So like, yeah, if you have to CS under your turret for the first like 10 minutes of the game, that's okay, because as long as you don't let Darius get kills on you, he loses all his impact in the game. So basically, you just want to stall the game when you're versing a Darius.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then look for taunts under turret. But besides that, similar like how you're looking for taunts under Camille, you basically just want to avoid trading with him pretty much all the time. Because he can interrupt your dash with his E, and he can slow you, he can run you down with Ghost, so it's just better to avoid it.
For sure.
Yeah. So you just want to play the macro, and you want to play like mid to late game. Because if Darius doesn't get kills, he struggles in team fights.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. So just avoid deaths. And yeah, if you're down 10, 20 CS, that's okay. Like that's way better than being down like 2 kills and 40 CS. Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah. So just losing gracefully is basically the best way to put it. Some matchups you're just not going to win in laning phase, but you'll take over in the mid to late. Because you saw there, like, you're having so much impact in the mid game just with your ult. Like, it's not even hard to do. You just, as long as you're aware of what your team's doing, you just press R. And you've immediately out-macroed Darius by simply pressing one button. And meanwhile, he's there in lane with Ghost and Flash, not being able to contribute anything to the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool, dude. All right. I'll let you go, but I've got the recording here and everything. That was a nice long session.
Thank you so much. Well, I'm assuming the recording is going to be sent to me?
Yeah, I'll send it as like an unlisted YouTube video, so you'll be able to like pause and everything.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, thank you so much.
No worries, Caesar.
Dylan, right?
Yeah, it's Dylan.
Yeah, thank you so much. This really was helpful. $30 well spent, I think.
Awesome. I'll send you these notes as well with the review. And
For,
those wave management videos as well, if I can find them.
yeah, I would greatly appreciate all that. Thank you so
Cool.
much.
No worries, Caesar. See
Have a
ya.
good day, man.
You
Thank you so
too.
much. See ya.
Bye.